I would like to welcome David Swartz. Yeah, you.
Okay. Car number 7318, come to the valet desk, please. Head down, right? I need Philip. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh my God. Okay, when we last sat and talked.
We can't see you.
Oh, you're kidding. All right. Please help. Can't ask me to stand. I was up all night standing in the room. So Ron was in my bed. So, all right. Anybody want to start this off, and then maybe it'll go somewhere from there? All right, thank you. It's good to see you later in the banquet. Yes. The last year. Well, the question. Thank you, Peg. The question was. Repeat the question. Together. For someone who just had this much coffee. What have I been doing the last year? Well, for some of you who don't know what I do. Can't hear me?
What do you do?
What do I do? The main part of my life is, I live in San Francisco, though I ride back and forth. I'm mono-coastal, as I call it. I'm San Francisco to Los Angeles. But the main part of my business, I'm a freelance director and writer of corporate media, basically. That's sort of what I do to pay the bills. When I write, I have got a couple projects that I'm writing with some friends. But for the most part, what I do is write and direct things for, San Francisco and Northern California is pretty much the ballyhoo of high technology. So with all the high technology companies like Oracle, Netscape, Apple Computers, and the list goes on, Sun, I forget half the people I do business with, Intel. So I do a lot of meeting openers for them and internal sort of messaging. So what I'll do is I'll get called in a lot to sort of listen to where they are in their lifespan and try to assist them in telling their stories. And one of the things that I know differentiates me up in that marketplace than a lot of the people that do that is my experience in the different level of telling stories. So it's kind of fun because I work with a lot of contemporaries, people of the same age group, people with a very interesting set of skills. I get a chance to learn a lot because most of the products that I assist in helping, or most of the ideologies that I assist in telling stories from are new to me. I'm not like very keen at understanding how computers work, but I certainly learned a lot. So for the last year or so, it's been kind of fun. I get a chance to meet with people and learn all about how different worlds work in that level of American business and help them tell their stories to their people. Or a lot of the things I do actually is help companies go IPO. When companies are trying to raise money to get their products out there and get on the stock exchange, I'll actually help them sort of do videos to take to banks and different fundraising situations for their products. And again, in Silicon Valley, where I do a lot of my work, there's 23-year-old web kids every 20 minutes taking some literally tiny minutia that that give away for shareware, and in a week we just all see these guys making $36 million in IPOs. So I do a little bit of that. And then what else I'm doing is I've got 2 sitcoms that I'm writing with 2 writing partners in LA, and try to sort of stay somewhat tied into wanting to sort of tell stories again in the more dramatic sense. But Hollywood runs at its own speed, and I like living in Northern California, so it's an hour plane ride away, and when I get down there, I get down there. If not, I sort of live on the waterfront in San Francisco, and I'm watching them build a ballpark across the street from my apartment. That's pretty much my life. Up to Wine Valley on Saturday nights, and in Napa, and kind of go camping up in over by Yosemite. So that's pretty much what I do. 24 hours a day is trying to sort of survive in Northern California. Yes, Sharon?
What are the sitcoms you are writing for?
Well, there are actually 2 original ideas, and just some kind of wacky ideas that came up in my head, and I've been writing them with people. I can't really speak to what they are because I've got a partner, and they're not actually physically registered with the Writers Guild. So I mean, it's silly to say, but weird ideas happen. See, someone says something, and next thing you know. But they're both, a lot of you people know me, and it's not sort of dumb stuff. Though they'll probably have some dumb laughs in there, because that's kind of my middle name. But it's just, both of them are based in scenarios, and they sort of fit the matrix of my favorite sitcoms, like Barney Miller, which is one of my favorite sitcoms. It's like 7 people in a situation in life. 7 distinct personalities that are all pulling for the same thing, but absolutely despise each other because they're all distinct personalities. Pretty much like this front row over here. In fact, one of the sitcoms is called The Front Row, and it's about Terry and the girls. But yeah, so hopefully within the next 6 months we'll get a chance. My writing partner and I are literally our first at-bat with this. We're going to go pitch to Whit Thomas, because we have friends there, and they've certainly had a history of creating quality sitcoms with the Golden Girls, and It's a Living, and Soap, and Beauty and the Beast. Is there some funny stuff out of there? So, yes.
I was going to say, why don't you write a sitcom about a canceled television series?
Well, that would be a whole network. The 24-hour CNN canceled series network. Yeah, obviously, and that's a very interesting point. Isn't it amazing? Ours not being the only show of historic value that meant something to a lot of people that was canceled. But yes, and the next question I know is, so when is the next thing coming out? Is that what you're going to ask me? When's
Well, I was going to ask you to come to the con in New York City in 2001.
Maybe if I'm still alive in 2001 and feeling as spry as I feel this morning, I'll be there. Yeah. In fact, I'll take the subway in from that. Last night, I won't tell Ron's story. I'll let him tell it. Okay, next question. All right. Well, since there's no questions, are there new people in the room? So let me tell some of you. You may have seen my name on the credits. You may not have. Only my mother, I think, was the one who actually watched for it every week. But for those of you, I'll give you a backstory about me and Beauty and the Beast. I was hired to be the post-production supervisor for the first, I was hired, that was my job. And then during the making of the first half of the first season, there was a whole bunch of turmoil that was going on in Beauty and the Beast, and the crew had changed several times within the first 7 or 8 episodes. And at Christmas break, Paul Witt and Tony Thomas and Ron Koslow had, actually at the Christmas party, which was on the lot at Bryn Mawr, I was sort of summoned to a private room. I thought, oh, there you go. Christmas, I'm getting fired. Isn't that special? And so no, they called me into this room, put one of those little kind of Luxo neck lamp lights in my eyes, so, Dave. And only that way that Ron Koslow could sort of summon you in the middle of a drinking party. And they said, how would you like to change jobs? Which, at that point, I thought was like a far better cry than how would you like to leave this lot now or be thrown off by security? So basically, they asked me if I would move on to the set and produce the show from the set because they were having problems and they had fired the gentleman who did that before me, John David, I think was his name. And so that's what I did. We came back from Christmas hiatus, and I was given the blessing to sort of run the set every day. And in some regards, the rest is history. We were talking yesterday out in the lobby about